and a good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you, good people of the tube. Today, hope you're feeling grand and all is well in your world. Hello there, everybody. Welcome to another A&Q Wednesday, everybody. Let's get into question one, shall we, today? Let's dive in. Skplosh. Kasplosh. Kasplosh. Kapidish. Kaplosh. I don't know. Breathe, Dave. Okay, so, first things first. Do I have a drink in here? Yes, I do. Okay, so it's all good. So, make sure. Okay, so question one today is, do you use a different distortion setting for let's say, a Strat and a Les Paul? Like, okay, so do I tweak my distortion settings if I go from a Strat with single coils to a Les Paul with humbuckers? I prefer not to, no. I don't really like altering settings. You know, I like things to be set and forgot. You know, set it, forget it. You know, that's the way I like it. And I always try and... I always like guitars that are kind of like homogenous, if that makes any sense. Like, you know, I like guitars that... Like, for instance, like... I can go from, say, like, my white Strat to my Revelation Les Paul, and I don't have to change anything because I know it'll work, or my Lemon Drop, or whatever, because I know it'll work. So I don't like to alter settings, no. I like to use the same settings for every guitar. So I always look for guitars that work on that one setting, which is invariably Mr. White's setting. So whatever setup I'm going through, whether it be my Katanas, my MGs, any of these things behind me or whatever, I like guitars that sound good through the same settings. I don't like to mess around with settings, really, to be honest with you. I like to kind of keep things, you know, just the same. Like I say, I'm a creature of habit. Once I find something I like, I stick to it like glue. So when it comes down to guitar tone, I mean, I found the sound I wanted. I found that a long time ago. I found that in about 2005, 2004, give or take. And I haven't really felt the need to change since then. I know what I want sound-wise and tonality-wise, and I know what I want out of a Les Paul. I know what I want out of a Telecaster or a Stratocaster or an SG or a 335 or an acoustic. I know what I want out of them. I know the sound I want. And I've never really swayed from that because I don't want to. I never feel the need to change. I mean, the settings on my MGs have... The setting on my number one SG has been the same since 2004. I've never changed the EQ on that amp. It's always the same. There were occasions where I had treble turned up, but it's very rare. Most of the time I just had the treble on 0. Because I would only ever turn it up till about 9 o'clock from 0. So it's basically like, you know, from there to there, which is that was very rare. I didn't really do that a great deal. It was just every now and again. Mainly for recording purposes, actually, or just messing around and seeing what else I could kind of get out. But I always ended up turning it back off. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't use different settings now. I don't use different distortion settings. I don't use different overdrive settings or delay settings. I set it and forget it, and don't really deep dive into stuff like that anymore. I've kind of been there and done that because I had to. You know, you have to do that to know what you want in the first place. You have to deep dive into effects, tones, and all that kind of thing to know what you want. Otherwise, kind of like, you know, you'll never know kind of thing. You know, you just can't just... No one has a set idea from the get-go kind of really of what they want. You know, it changes and evolves, you know, for a certain amount of time, and then eventually, you know, you stumble across going, oh, that's what I want kind of thing. So for me, no, I don't use different distortion settings. I don't see the point. I don't like it, personally. I like to be able to plug my Strat into my amp, and if I go, oh, well, plug my Les Paul in, I can plug the Les Paul in, and it works. It sounds different because it's a different guitar, and I'm already losing my voice. But, because obviously, you know, if I'm playing one of my Strats and then I plug in one of my Les Pauls, it's going to sound totally different. But I don't have to alter the amp. You know what I mean? The guitar alters the sound, and that's what I want it to do. I want the guitar to change, not necessarily the amp to change, or the settings to change. You know, I don't want to be messing around with different amp settings, stuff like that. Once I found a setting I like, I stick to it. I don't really feel the need to change. I'm gonna lose my voice. That's good. First question in, everybody, and I'm losing my voice already. Okay. So no, I don't really change settings. I just don't feel the need. I mean, I know a lot of people who will constantly tweak and change and stuff like that. And I've known a lot of guitarists, and I've played with a lot of guitarists who constantly kind of like switch and change and mess around with stuff and kind of like just play around with their tone and stuff like that. But I've never liked doing that. You know, the only thing I've ever really done to my sound is, if I have to, I will turn the bass down on my amplifier, because I like to run bass on 10. But when I play with other guitarists, that's too much. So what I do is, basically, if I'm playing in a band, for instance, Duke's Deluder, when I was playing in that band, all I did is turn the bass all the way down, and that was basically the only difference to my sound. Is that I just turned the bass off, so I had a sonic space. You know what I mean? Because if I kept my bass at full, I'd be getting in the way of Jono's bass and also Dan's guitar, and I needed to kind of sit straight down the middle with my kind of lead parts and higher kind of guitar parts. I needed to kind of cut through, and I don't want to be too bassy to drown out the bass guitar and Dan's acoustic or then electric, or Todd's cajon. You know, the bass of the cajon. I didn't want to drown it out. I wanted to sit kind of like, you know, in that kind of like high mid kind of place. So to do that, all I need to do was turn the bass off, and you know, and then I found a place that sonically to fit. In the trio, because I'm the only guitarist, I can have bass all the way up, and it just sounds big and joyous because I'm the only guitar, so it needs to sound big. But if I go into a band with another guitar player, then yeah, I would run the bass on 0 on my amps, because there's no need to cover that much real estate if there's another guitarist in the band. You know, there's just no need for it. But again, that's about as far as my settings would differ. But again, that's situation kind of thing. It's not really... It's weird to say, but it's kind of almost not really a tonal thing. It's kind of like a size thing of your sound. Like, you know, like I say, because when the bass is full up, my sound is like, say, this big. When I turn it down, it comes down to like here or something like that, which then sits better in a band mix if there's another guitarist and there's multiple things going on. In a 3-piece, this works. In a 4-5 piece, if there's another guitarist, this doesn't work. That works, you know. And you've got to find that space. But tonally, it's the same sound. It's just less bottom endy. There's just less bottom end. There's just more mids to it. To again put it where it needs to live. So it's not really a tonal thing. It's more of a size difference in tone, really. That is. But if that makes any sense whatsoever. But yeah, so I don't really like to change settings. Like I say, I mean, I know the settings for my Vox. I know the settings on this Sub-Zero amp haven't changed since the day I got it. They're still the same. The settings on the Harley Benton are the same. You know, the amps behind me, like the little Marshall 12 and the Audition and stuff like that. When I turn them on, I put that setting in, and that's it. You know, same with my MG and Katanas and stuff like that. You know, I don't really feel the need to change. I know what I want out of the amps, so as long as I get that, I'm a happy little bunny. So all's well. Excuse me, people of the tube. Now I've got hiccups. So I've gone from losing my voice to having hiccups. Okay, so yes, and the orange juice makes a return. Yay! Somebody said in a video a while back that they hadn't seen the orange juice in the videos for a while, and we're getting a bit worried. Don't worry, it's always been there. It's just being off camera. Anyway. So I hope that's answered the question. Going to move on to question 2 now. So question 2 is, if you could do a Dave Simpson tour, who would be in your band? What songs would you do? And would you have a sideshow, aka people on stage? So I'm going to go backwards on this one. So would I have a sideshow? No. I'm not interested in kind of theatrical things. I'm not going to be Iron Maiden or Jane's Addiction or anything like that. I'm not interested in any of that kind of thing. When I went to see Pearl Jam, I just realised that's handy, isn't it? That wasn't planned, by the way. When I went to see Pearl Jam, when I bought this hoodie as well, when was it? 2009. Yeah, 2009. When I went to see them, they had nothing. It was wicked. There was just this backdrop. It was just a big white sheet, basically, which they had lights projecting onto, which changed colour, and that was it. It was very simple. There was no kind of like, there was the big screens obviously, so you could kind of like see them and people filming, but there was nothing. You know what I mean? It was just them on stage, and it was just about the music and them just playing. And I really like that. And it's the same with like the Chili Peppers and stuff like that. You know, they might have a backdrop, but it's just about what they do. You know, it's not like U2 where they've got all these big screens and all this craziness going on, and Metallica with pyrotechnics and stuff like that. I'm not interested in that. Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I'm sure it's very, very cool to be on stage with pyrotechnics and stuff like that, and these big screens and whatnot. But no. I mean, plus the level I'd be touring at wouldn't allow that kind of thing anyway. You know, I'd be very lucky to play small theatres. Anyway, but yeah, so would I have anything like that? No. You know, I'd be quite happy just to kind of like, yeah, I would want to make it all about the music and just make it a, that's what it is, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not really interested in kind of like trying to make it theatrical or kind of like, you know, wowy or this, that, and the other. You know, I want the music to be wowy. I don't want the background to be wowy. You know what I mean? You know, there are bands who can do that. Iron Maiden being a great example of like having amazing music and amazing visuals all at the same time. And Metallica are really good at that as well. And there's other bands who are really good at that as well. Devin Townsend takes the cake when it comes down to visuals as well as music, definitely. But I'm not interested in that world. You know what I mean? That's not the way I want it. It's like, I like Pearl Jam, where there's just nothing. You know what I mean? There might be a backdrop, but it doesn't change. You know, and it's just them on stage with their amplifiers and making music. I like that. So I wouldn't have anything like that now. I wouldn't have any kind of crazy theatrical stuff. You know. So what songs would you do? See, now this is where I would struggle, because if I was doing a tour, I suppose it would have to be probably some of my songs, which kind of makes me worry. Because like a lot of musicians, I think my songs are rubbish and they're diabolically bad. Everything I do, I think is just like, that's just terrible. It's that weird musician thing that every musician seems to have, of like, you know, it's just not good enough. But I learned a long time ago that it's a basic case of just do what you can, get it the best you can, and kick it out the door and forget about it. You know, which is why that's been my kind of like little philosophy kind of go by thing for ages now. Which is kind of like, as soon as I record a song, I'll record it in a day and kick it out the door by the end of the day, because it's done. You know, of course it could be better. Everything could be always better. There's that line that a song is never finished, and that's very true. You know, you can always look back on a song and go, I could have done that better, I could have done this better. Yeah, you could have done, but at that point in time, that was the best you could do, so leave it at that, you know. You know, I was listening to Jailbreak the other night. I was listening to Jailbreak the other night. I remember reading an interview with Scott Gorham saying it sounds terrible. The production, the guitar tones, everything about that album, he said, it sounds bad. The songs are great, but he says the album itself sounds crap. And I kind of understand what he means, because it sounds muffled, it sounds dark, the levels are all over the shop. It's really a weird mix. Jailbreak sounds bizarre. It really does. It sounds like everything's far mic'd. You know, nothing sounds close mic'd or anything. It sounds like you're in a really echoey rehearsal room with them. It's bizarre, but it's not a comment on how the songs are rubbish. You know, because the songs are amazing. It's the production was not very good. And Scott says he wish he could go back and re-record it better. But then if he did that, you would lose the magic of this album. You know what I mean? You would lose the magic of it. You know, you'd lose that sound. And it's kind of like a distinguishing mark of this album is that sound. You know, you got Boys Are Back in Town on this thing. So it's like, you know, that sound is the sound of this record, which is mega, really. And you think about like other albums and stuff like that, where you're like, Iron Maiden's first album, Steve Harris has said many, many times of like, it sounds bad. You know, the production wasn't very good, the mix isn't very good, I wish you could do it again. But then you lose in the characteristic of that album. as well, and it's like, I've got that here as well somewhere. Where is that? Oh, keep using these things as prompts. That wasn't planned either, everybody. But they're there. Why not? But anyway, but yeah. So but I think it's a cool thing just to kind of capture music in a moment. If you write a song and you're recording it and you finish it and you think that sounds pretty good, I feel personally, for me, it's a bad idea to kind of then go, I'm gonna go away from this for a day or so and I'll come back to it and I'll mix it again, because every time I've done that, I've ruined the song for me. So I don't like doing that anymore. I just kind of basically, I'll record a song and it is what it is, and then it's out the door and it's gone. I don't overthink things. I just get it to a point where I'm like, yeah, I can hear everything. That's even. That's this and the other. I mean, I could possibly make things sound better. Not probably with my ability on mixing side. I'm not very good at it, but or production side or any of that kind of thing. I'm pretty cack at it. But I can get it to a point where at least I'm happy with it at that point in time. And once it's out in the world, there's nothing I can do about it anyway, because that's what it is. So I'm not one to kind of overdo it. Anyway, I've gone massive off on tangent here, haven't I? So coming back, so what songs would I do if I did a tour? I would do some of my songs and I'd do some covers. I'd love to do kind of like some covers like, Little Wing. I always have to do Little Wing because of Charlie and Nicole Marjo. I always have to do Bad Penny for Rory. I always have to do certain songs for certain players. I have to do these songs because All on the Watchtower I always have to do because of Jimi Hendrix, and I always want to do those kind of songs. They're songs that never get boring to me. So I would kind of do a mix of both, which I always like doing anyway. I mean, for the longest time I did that in the trio. We would do we would do a lot of my own songs interspersed with a lot of covers. It would be kind of a 50-50 split. And I think that's nice, because then you're giving people something that they know and is kind of classic, and also something they kind of like, not so familiar with, which is cool. So I think I'll do a bit of both, really. I think it would take a bit of figuring what songs of mine to do, because I'll just be like, no, that's terrible. No, that's terrible. Eventually I'd have to kind of get somebody else to pick them for me, maybe. But I know what covers I would do. Like I say, Little Wing, Voodoo Child, All on the Watchtower, Bad Penny. I really love playing Ballad of John Henry by Joe Bonamassa. With a trio, we do it in half step down in drop D. So it's kind of like really heavy, and I really like that. So yeah, stuff like that. The Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin is always a good fun song to play as well, and you've really got to like scream when it's great. It's great fun. So I'd kind of probably do a 50-50 split between my songs and cover songs, just to kind of just to kind of balance the load, so to say. And like I say, give people something familiar and then give something that people aren't so familiar with. I think it'd be quite cool. Okay, so the last part, question 2, technically the first part, was who would be in your band? Okay, so my dream band is bass player, drummer, and 3 guitarists. Why 3 guitarists? Simply because my music always has multiple guitar parts that I always want to recreate live. So I wouldn't, if I got a chance to do a tour, a fairly biggish tour or whatever, I wouldn't want it to be a 3-piece. I would want 2 other guitarists to play acoustic and electric and electric and electric. You know what I mean? Like, and also be able to do backing vocals as well, because that's important to me, because I love backing vocals. So it would have to be I would have to have 3 guitarists, a bass player, and a drummer. Somebody said once, would you have a keyboard player? I'm like, no, because I like the guitar pad keyboardy sounds more than a keyboard, but that's me. So it'd be 3 guitarists, a bass player, and a drummer. And again, like I say, it would be kind of like, all balanced out, because I know where things would need to live. And I want 3 guitars to cover, because there's certain songs of mine where I've got an acoustic guitar, an electric guitar doing a high bit, an electric guitar doing a low bit. And I'd like to cover all the spectrum of that. It would sound a bit... I don't like the idea of doing some of my songs where the acoustic guitar and the high guitar are missing and it's just the low guitar. There's certain songs of mine where I'm like, that's just not right, and it wouldn't be big enough and it wouldn't sound right. So I'd have to have 3 guitarists, and that's my dream. It's always been my dream to have, if I ever got to tour, if that's ever going to happen, yeah, right. I would have to have 3 guitarists. I would have to have 3 guitarists. And I already know who those other 2 guitarists would be. So drummer would be my mate, Mr. John Joe Gaskin, because it'd have to be him. Because, there is no other drummer for me in this world, I'm afraid. John Joe is my soul brother in drumming. I love the man, and I don't really feel like I want any other drummer. John Joe is everything and more in a drummer, and a human. So yeah, the drummer would be John Joe, no ifs, no buts. Bass player wise, I'd love it to be my brother, but I don't know if he'd be interested in doing that kind of thing anymore. But yeah. So people with Tube, I put a question to you. So I haven't said who my other 2 guitarists, who I picked them, who they would be. So people with Tube, let me know in the comment section below. Who do you think I would pick to be my other 2 guitarists? I'll give you a clue. I lived with them for a very short period of time, unfortunately. Anyway, but yeah. Again, it comes down to musical connection for me. When it comes down to stuff like being in a band, there has to be that strong musical connection. And I've got it with John Joe. Just massively. I've played in a lot of bands, and I've played a lot of music with a lot of different musicians in my kind of time playing music. But I can honestly say that playing with John Joe is just something else. That connection that we have is totally, you don't get that every day. That's rare. And the connection I have with these 2 other people, which I'm not going to mention because let me know, people of YouTube, comment section, who you think it is. It's the same with them 2. They make me feel invincible when I'm playing with them. You know what I mean? They make me feel like I can do what I need to do, and they've got my back, so to say. And that's what when the trio was a duo, when me and John Joe just went out doing gigs, just the 2 of us, I never felt kind of like, oh my god, I'm literally like the only instrument, like, guitar here. There's no bass, there's no other instrument. I've got to do it. It was never a case of like, oh my god. I felt very. I was like, any other drummer that I'd probably had in the past, I'd be like, I'm not doing it. But with John Joe, I was like, yeah, let's do it. I'm more than happy. He gave me that confidence is paramount when you're doing that kind of thing. And John Joe always gave me that, and still gives me that now. So when we had to do 2-piece stuff, I was like, yeah, let's do it. I never thought twice about it. It was just a case of, yeah, we can do this. And we did. And it was great fun. And I want to do more of the 2-piece stuff at some point. I'd love to re-record some of the songs that I did on that little mini album called 5. And some other stuff with John Joe. So we've got like drummer and guitar. I'd love to do that at some point. It'd be great fun. I'd love to do it live as well. So just record it live. So very White Stripes-esque kind of thing. But maybe one day we'll do that. But yeah, but I say that musical connection where it's on that higher level is so rare. I've had it with another drummer I had called Phil, and I obviously have it with my brother, because I think being siblings, I think that helps. And I had it with Dukes Deluded with Dan and my sister as well. Me and Dan, we could just kind of read each other like telepathically almost. It's bizarre. It's like anybody who's experienced that in music, you'll know what I mean. It's a very strange thing. It is like telepathy. It's so bizarre, but it's so awesome. But it's so rare. I've been in so many bands where that's just not there. And you just do what you do, and you just got to kind of get along. And there's no connection really with the other members of the band. You're just kind of not connected, but you're doing this thing. So it's very rare. And so, like I say, when it comes down to picking a band, it would definitely be Mr. John Joe on drums. It would have to be John Joe on drums. No ifs, no buts. I mean, I'd love my brother to be on bass, but like I said, it's not something he really does anymore. He kind of just plays for himself now. He doesn't really go in for that kind of, the career and kind of music thing like I am, or John Joe is, or the two other people who you have to mention. Anyway, but so that would be it basically. Like I say, so John Joe on drums. I'd have to have somebody on bass, obviously, to kind of like fill that place, and then obviously I would do vocals and guitar, and then I would have my two other very special friends again, who I have a connection musically with, and also on a different level as well. It's not just music; it's also that friendship level as well, and that always helps. That just makes you go, "Whoa, this is special." You know it. You know when something's right and when something's wrong, and the connection I have with I know you said their names. I want you to do it. I want you to tell me, people with you. The connection I have with them is the same I have with John Joe, and it's super rare. You know what I mean? Like I say, I can go John Joe, these two, my sister, my brother, and Dan. Phil, who's another drummer from a trio. I had it with the singer from Gimbal for a while, but it kind of faded because of issues. But you know what I mean? But not this strong. That level. That's about as kind of it. So it's about 6, 7 people in 18 years. It's bizarre, really. So anyway, my friend Carl as well, who was the bass player in the trio for a long time. He was we had a really cool connection as well. But there's different levels of connection. But like I say, John Joe and my two other guitarists, if I ever got to tour, the connection would be very, very strong. You know what I mean? It'd be very, very strong. But I mean, as far as it goes, I mean, I have always dreamed. It's one of my biggest dreams and aspirations in music to tour. To tour music and to tour like theatres, not stadiums. That's not going to happen. I'm not stupid, but to kind of like tour kind of like the little kind of clubs and theatre kind of circuit was always a dream of mine. I know it's never going to get to stadium level or this, that, and the other, and it's just ridiculous to think that's going to happen. It's just not going to happen, especially not now. And in all fairness, I'd be surprised if the level I dream of is ever going to happen now because of what's going on. I just don't think it'll ever come back. But there's a part of me, I'm kind of 50-50 split on that one. There's a part of me goes, no, it will, and then there's another part of me goes, no, it won't. But if that ever happened, if I ever do get to tour, that's what I would do, and I that's the songs I would play. They're the people I would have, and that's what we would do. So yeah, but I'm going to move on from that, people of YouTube, because I'm going to run out of time if I don't move on. And I could talk about that for hours, and I will if I don't stop myself. So I do apologize. So moving on to question 3. So question 3 is there a particular time of the day you like to practice? No. Any time from the moment I wake up to going to bed is a good time for guitar. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what time of day it is. There's always time for guitar. And I've got, I don't set time aside for it. I just pick up a guitar and play it whenever I want to play it. And I practice whenever I want to practice. I've been working on all these weird kind of like finger exercises recently. It sounds a lot like Eric Johnson with a little bit of a twist. And I'm really enjoying doing that. And it's kind of like getting my fingers to move in different places and stuff like that. And I like that. But no, I don't have a particular time of the day I like to practice. I just like to practice and I like to play. I just love to play guitar at any time. It doesn't matter what's going on. I just love the guitar. I don't like going through a day and not picking up guitar once. Even if I've only got a chance to pick up guitar for like say 5 minutes in a day because of the day's busy or whatnot. That's enough. If I go through a day where I don't play guitar, which hasn't ever happened, but apart from when I went on holiday for 7 days, when I couldn't take a guitar, even then, found guitar shops. I just feel wrong. Like I feel like my day isn't fulfilled, and I will have to play guitar before I go to sleep. I can't sleep if I don't play guitar. I love playing guitar, so I don't really have a particular time. No, I don't have a practice regime. I don't have anything like that. I just sit down and I play, and I learn songs, and I learn different ways to play things, and I learn different ways where to be, and this, that, and the other, and different phrasing, and also kind of like different kind of ways to express myself through the guitar and try and push myself to that point where I want to be. Just keep pushing and pushing and pushing to kind of get that level, that emotion that I want to get to. So, but no, there is no particular time. I just play whenever I want to play, and I'll be doing it after I've finished editing this video and had something to eat. So yes. But yeah, so yeah, no particular time, no practice regime. Just I love playing guitar. I love making music, and I love playing guitar. And There's never a bad time. There's never a set time. It's just, oh, it's there. I want to play guitar. I'm going to play guitar. Yeah, is what it is. So I hope that's a question. Moving on to question 4 now, everybody. Final question of the day. Okay, so question 4. This will be the last time I answered this question. I'm not going to answer it again. I've answered it a few times in the past, but this is the last time I'm going to answer it. So, do you think you'll ever upload your music to Spotify? No, I won't. I will never upload my music to Spotify because they do not support artists. They're not in it for the right reasons, and they are basically just scum. And it's just a saturated market. You know, it doesn't give you exposure. It doesn't do you anything, and it pays very little, if anything. I saw a thing recently. Gary Newman earned 35 quid off like multiple, like a million streams or something like that of one of his songs. He earned like 35 quid off it. He came out saying, this is ridiculous. 35 quid off a million streams. You know, back in the day, if you sold like a million albums, you'd be a millionaire. But that isn't the way anymore because of Spotify and iTunes. They are working their way to cheapening music. So no, my music will never be on Spotify. It's on my Bandcamp, and that's where it's going to stay. And it will never be on iTunes or Spotify because I don't want it there, because I don't want it to be associated with them. You know, I value myself and my music above rob dogs like Spotify, and I wish more musicians would as well, because it's not the way forward. You know, they'll tempt you in with, like, you know, sweeties and go, oh, come in, we'll give you exposure and this, that, and the other, and you'll get on the top 10 and this, that, and the other. It doesn't mean anything. You know, Spotify, you know, stuff like that, it's, you know, I don't agree with them. I'm sorry, I really don't agree with Spotify. I don't like Spotify. I don't like iTunes. It's a monopoly. And they thrive on extorting musicians and artists. It's just extortion. It's just legal extortion. You know, if you want to put music on there, fine, go ahead. You know, I'm not gonna say to people to stop it, but be aware that there are better ways to put your music out there other than Spotify and iTunes, because, you know, this to me is my life. This is my career choice. Music is my career choice. And because of that, unfortunately, I have to think of money. I have to think of being able to pay bills to live, you know, all sorts of, you know, I have to live. I have to pay for my life, you know, to be able to live and do this. Luckily, thanks to you awesome people out there and my awesome people on Patreon, thank you very much indeed, people on Patreon, I'm able to do that, you know, right now. And this is why my music's on Spotify, is because Spotify take 15%, Bandcamp. This is why my music's on Bandcamp, because Bandcamp only take 15% of your revenue of what you earn off buying a thingy, which is kind of like an industry standard percentage, to be honest with you. There's always a 15% in there somewhere. But you get the rest, you know what I mean? Which means you get 85% of the earnings. And through my albums, like For John and some of the other albums I've got on my Bandcamp, I'm able to, again, live. I don't live easily, you know. I'm not rich. I'm not well off in any way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? You know, I'm lucky. I live here with my dad. You know what I mean? I am lucky here. You know, I know how lucky I am, because on what I earn, there's no way I can move out. I can't afford it. So I'm lucky I'm here. You know, and I've got this, be able to do that. You know, all credit to my dad. You know, my dad is my saviour, because he gives me the ability to actually, he supports me in this, you know what I mean? And again, you lot support me as well, and I said people on Patreon support me, and other friends and family support me. So, like I say, music to me is my career. This is my life. This is my job. This is what I do to live and survive. Much in the same way a plumber goes out and fixes sinks and does that kind of thing. Much way an electrician goes out, a farmer goes out, a hairdresser, whatever. You know what I mean? This is what I do to survive. So, unfortunately, I can't do it for free. You know what I mean? I would love to just kind of like throw music out there for free and not have to worry about that bills and stuff like that. But I can't, because I'm the same as everybody else, and we all have bills to pay. We all have to buy food. We all have to buy food, drink, water, you know, stuff like that to live. You know, and we all have, you know, things to pay for. So, because this is my life, I value my art and myself more than shove it on a Spotify playlist where in a year I might get 2p off 1,000 streams. You know what I mean? I need more than that so I can actually keep doing this. You know, which is unfortunately the way it is. You know, it's the way with any job. You know, you can't get a trade, go out and do it for free and expect to be able to live. It doesn't work that way. I wish it did, but that's a perfect world and it doesn't exist and never will. And the same goes for a musician and my position and a lot of people I know, John Joe for instance. This is our life, and like I say, Nicole Marjo, this is our life. You know, this is our life. This is what we do. So we have to be able to make money off it enough to live. And it's the same with a lot of people, and especially in this day and age, it's really hard. You know what I mean? It's almost impossible. I mean, I'm lucky in the fact I have you. You know, I wouldn't be able to do this without you. It's as simple as that. So I am forever grateful to you. I'm grateful to my dad, grateful to my friends, family. You know, all the support I get. You know, and I need that to be able to do this. You know, I can't, especially in this day and age, because I'm not gigging. I'm not able to gig to earn that extra bit of money for this. I'm not able to fix people's guitars because no one wants to do that kind of thing. You know, I'm not able to kind of do certain things that I would do to make more money. So I'm a lucky git in the fact that I have you lot, and I'm so grateful every day for you lot out there who watch and support this channel. And as I say, people on Patreon who help me just, you know, and me and my dad keep the lights on and live basically where we live. So, you know, and give me the ability to go out and do what I do. You know, I'm so grateful. It's never ever lost on me, and it never will be lost on me. I know where I am, and I know how important this is. So yeah, so when it comes down to coming back again to music on Spotify and iTunes, no, I will not put my music on there because I need to make, if I put music out, I need to make something from it to give me the ability to feed myself this week. You know what I mean? If I put an album out for £10 and somebody buys that album, I get £8 of that from Bandcamp. That will then feed me and my dad, because I cook for me and my dad, and you know he cooks for me as well, and him. You know, and we also share kind of certain other things as well, like, you know, paying for the van and, you know, all sorts of other stuff. You know, that covers those costs, you know what I mean, for a few days. You know what I mean? That covers, you know, £8 will get us a pretty good meal for the night, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. So I have to think about that. And iTunes and Spotify are, like I say, they're just a monopoly. They're just extortioners who basically live on extorting musicians and artists out of the money they deserve, and rightly deserve, because they're the ones doing the work. You know, just because your music's on Spotify doesn't mean they're doing everything. Without Spotify, if nobody put the music on Spotify, it wouldn't exist because it wouldn't make money, which means it's pointless. It's the same as what I'm trying to do, but I feel I'm doing it for the right reasons instead of they're doing it for the wrong reasons. They're just trying to extort money. I'm not. I'm trying to live to be able to do this, my job. You know what I mean? It's, you know, they're not trying to do a job. They're just trying to rake in the cash off people, in my opinion. I just think they're scum. So no, I'm not going to put music on Spotify ever. On iTunes, no. I'm just not doing it. And I won't be overly impressed if anyone ever put my music on there. I'd be very, 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 very angry. Big words nearly came out of my mouth then. Because it's against what I hold to myself. It's like the Joker, Heath Ledger's Joker character in The Dark Knight, when one of the mob bosses says, like, you know, when he says to kill Batman, like kind of thing, and he says, well, if it's so easy, why haven't you done it? He says, because if you're good at something, never do it for free. And as much as it's kind of like a weird, dark kind of line, because it reverts itself back to money and that kind of thing, unfortunately, that is a reality. You know, we all have to earn money. You know what I mean? We all have to earn money to live and do that kind of thing. We can't avoid that. It's the way it is. It's the way of the world. It's the way it'll always be. You know, unless, you know, aliens take over the planet, and then it won't really matter. Which in this day and age is very possible considering everything that's going on. I'm still waiting for Godzilla. I'm expecting it any second. Anyway. But yeah, so I don't put music on Spotify. I don't put music on iTunes. I won't do that. My music is on Bandcamp and Bandcamp only. I release them on here. But, and I don't publicise myself because I don't like doing it. Because I hate it. But I have to sometimes. And it really annoys me. I don't like doing it, but I've got to do it because I've got to be able to live. And I'm since this is my job and chosen profession, I have to do that sometimes. So it's not nice, but I have to do it. It makes me feel dirty, but I've got to do it. I have to stop being a bit more silly about that and have to be a bit more realistic about the fact of I need to be able to live, and to do that I have to for me to live I rely on you basically, and people on Patreon, and you buying my music off Bandcamp and people who support me. I rely on them. I couldn't do this on my own. It'd be impossible. I wouldn't be able to do what I do without you lot out there. Or without YouTube. I wouldn't be able to do it. So YouTube is my saviour, much in the same way it's a lot of musicians' saviours in this day and age. It really is. And, and I say the Bandcamp thing is just like, I love my music being on Bandcamp, and I love it just being there, nowhere else. I don't want to scatter it around the place so it's on like Bandcamp and iTunes and Spotify and here and there and here and there. I don't want to do that. It's there. That's where it is. It's on Bandcamp. That's where it stays. It doesn't leave there unless they change their thingy, in which case I'll remove it and then you'll have to find somewhere else. I'll find somewhere else to sell it. But like I say, I do need to make money. Unfortunately, as much as that's a dirty word and a horrible thing to say, and I don't like saying it, I do have to make money. I have to be able to live. And I have to be able to... feed myself and help out around here. So, and if I just relied on my music being on Spotify, that's never going to happen. If Gary Newman, a world-renowned musician, artist who's been around for so long, gets only 35 quid off 1 million streams, what chance do you think anyone at my level has got of making enough money to live off their music by putting their music on Spotify or iTunes? You don't have a chance. You do not have a chance. It was Noel Gallagher. I remember when I think it was his second solo album. I think Noel's second solo album. When that first came out, they did physical copies, real CDs and records, and then they did the digital download. And I think it was somewhere in the region. I think they sold somewhere in the region of 44,000 physical copies of the album. Which, if you're a debuting band, that's incredible. But it's Noel Gallagher, so it's all he's got that there already. But they sold like something like 44,000 copies, I think, something like that. It was in the 40s of physical copies. An album, an actual physical thing you can hold in your hand. The online download, which was cheaper, was something like 5 million. In the first day, just downloaded. And Noel said something along the lines of like, if you were an upcoming band before digital download and your debut album sold 5 million copies on its first day, you would not only be one of the richest rock stars in the world, you would be hailed as one of the biggest artists ever. I think it was something along the lines of that he said. I'm paraphrasing, but it's that kind of thing. So it makes me kind of like go, people like Spotify, they're not in it to support artists. Spotify are not out for your best interests, musicians of the world. They are not interested in your best interests. They are rob dogs who are after revenue that you're making for them. And they will take everything they can from you and leave you with nothing, because that's the way they work. So I'm not in for that, and I refuse to be part of that. And I'm not going to be part of that. So that's why my music's on Bandcamp, where they only take 15%, which I'm happy with, because I get the majority. You know what I mean? Which, again, helps me feed me, helps me feed me and my dad, helps us keep the lights on, helps us live, helps me live and travel and be able to do what I do. So, so music will ever be on Spotify? No. And if I find my music on Spotify one day, I will not be happy. And I will Liam Neeson the person who did it. I will find them, but I won't kill them. But I will do very, very interesting things involving guitar strings. Anyway, I'll let your imagination run on that one. Anyway, I have a very particular set of skills. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. I don't know the rest. But am I intimidating people with a tube? Could I be Liam Neeson II? I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. I think I reckon I could do Taken, but it'd probably be me who'd be Taken, or Tekken, the computer game, and I was getting KO'd every time. Or Token. Yeah, I could be Token Liam Neeson. Anyway, moving along. Or Tolkien, which make me some kind of like elf or wizard. I mean, I can't, if I get pointy ears, do you reckon I could be like an elf? I could be like Legolas II, just not very good at anything else. I could have a bow made of guitar strings and like fire Stratocaster necks off my bow. I'm getting far too into this. Anyway, so yes, let's get back to the question that I had. Spotify, no! iTunes, no! My music is on Bandcamp or available from me. And that's it. That's as far as it goes, and that's where it will go. I have even debated taking my music off Bandcamp and just doing it solely through me, where I'll give you basically, I'll basically mail you the songs and pay for your PayPal kind of thing. But I like Bandcamp. I like it. I really like that. And they've got the right idea as well, and I appreciate them loads. Like I say, much the same way I appreciate YouTube for giving me a platform to be on, and appreciate you more than anything for supporting me here. And then people on Patreon, friends, family. Without all of you lot, I wouldn't be here now. So it doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter what I do on guitar or this that, and the other or whatever. Without you, it wouldn't happen. So it's that's everything. So it's again coming back to Noel Gallagher. There's a great quote from Noel, which is Oasis wouldn't have been the biggest band in the world without the fans. And that's exactly the way I feel about where I am. It's like without you lot, I'm nothing. I would be nowhere. It's you who make this work. You're the heart. You're the engine. You're the ones who propel this. And I'm not stupid enough to not realise that. I totally understand that. Stupid enough to not realise that? Yes, I totally understand. I totally realise that. I think that makes sense. Am I getting mixed up there? I could be getting mixed up. But yeah, I know without you, I can't do this. Which is why I will do everything I can for you at any given moment. You know what I mean? I will do all I can and, push myself to these limits because you all deserve it. You deserve more, and that's why I always strive to give you more and try and give you as much as I can, because you deserve it for supporting me and letting me live my dream of being a musician. When people say like, what do you do? I get to turn around and say I'm a guitarist, I'm a musician. That's what I do for my life, and that makes me feel 1,000,000 feet high. And this is all because of you supporting me and helping me. Without you, this wouldn't happen. So I'm so grateful every day. Every day I wake up, I am like, thank you to the awesome people of the Tube, and thank you to my patrons, and thank you to my friends and family, because without you, it's basically not going to happen. You are making me, you are allowing me to live my dream, which I never thought would happen. So I'll be eternally grateful. But unfortunately on the side, unfortunately there is that element of like, I say I have to be able to live. I have to make money, unfortunately. I can't. I have to do that, unfortunately, which again, move on from there, because I don't want to talk about that anymore. I don't like talking about money. I just don't like it. I mean, I have to when it comes down to things like this, but I really don't like talking about it. It doesn't sit well with me to be that thing. It's why I never push my Patreon. People always say, why don't you set up a Patreon? I have a Patreon. I just don't like to, hey, give me money kind of thing. Ugh, it feels weird. I don't like it. And yeah, it's the same way I never ask people to subscribe or this, that, and the other. It's, if you like the channel, you'll subscribe. If you don't need prompting. You're not stupid people. You know what I mean? I never understood that kind of concept of why are you telling people to subscribe. If they want to subscribe, they'll subscribe. If they don't, they won't. I never understood the whole thing of trying to force it down people's throats. I just don't like that. It feels weird to me. People will do what they do, and if they don't, they don't. If they do, they do. It's the way it is. So yeah. Anyway, But yeah, so music can be on Spotify, iTunes, or anything like that. It's on Bandcamp. There's a link for it on my channel page. There's a video about it somewhere. And I say it's just Bandcamp. I just think you just search for Dave Simpson Bandcamp and it comes up. And I think I've got something like 13 albums or something like that on there. Something like 13, 14 albums on there or something like that. I forget. I've got another one coming soon. I think is it 6 songs? I think I've got another little album coming of 6 songs coming soon. And I'm looking forward to putting that out. And actually, would that be already out by now? I don't know. No, I'm gonna wait for a bit longer. But yeah, so yeah, there you go. People tube. That's why my music can never be on Spotify. Like I say, it's just extortion. It's just I don't like them. I don't like the ethics are all wrong, and but it's never going to be in my good books, and I'm never going to do it. If my music's on Spotify, it means somebody else has done it. In which case, token Liam Neeson will be coming to get you, with his guitar string bow and Stratocaster neck arrows. So watch your back. So anyway, yeah, there you go, people tube. So like I say, if you want to check out my music on Bandcamp, then you just have to go to Google and put in Dave Simpson Bandcamp. I'm pretty sure it comes up. My album for John is on there, and certain other albums I've done is on there, and there's quite a lot of stuff on there, to be honest with you. So yeah. Is there anything else I need to say? No, to say that's it. And I do have a Patreon account. I just don't like to publicise it and stuff like that. I'm not very good at that kind of thing. I don't like doing that. It feels weird. I kind of have to sometimes, but I don't like the feel of it. It's weird. It just hard to say, but yeah. Anyway, people tube. I hope you enjoyed this Q&A. I hope I answered your questions okay. If you want to submit a question for A&Q, description box below has an email link. Just send your emails there. I'll get to it when I get to it. I go through sequentially. And I will see you again on Friday for another vid. It'll be from France again, so we'll be flip-flopping for the next week. Because we're nearly coming to the end of February. So there's one more Q&A. Yeah, so it's basically the end of this month. I think is the last video. No, yeah, beginning of March. I think it's the last videos from France, and then we're back here. So yeah. So anyway, people tube. Hope you enjoyed this vid, and hope there's something you can take away from that. And I'll see you again very soon for another one. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening. Again, thank you so much for the support. Without you, this isn't possible. It's as simple as that. Without you being here to watch these videos and support me and help me, this wouldn't happen. So thank you so much from all that I am. I am forever grateful, eternally grateful. So thank you very much indeed, and I'll see you again very soon for another one. Have a great one until then. And by the way, what do you think to my amp and record wall? Because this is my little record collection. It's very, very tiny. I don't have many, but I've had some of these are my dad's, but some of these are mine, and I've kind of got a few of them over I don't know how many years, 10, maybe even longer. But I've bought quite a few, but yeah. So this is the Rory Gallagher pile here. Rory Gallagher pile, sorry. Jimi Hendrix there, singles, and all sorts of other stuff. Maybe I'll go through it one day, I don't know. But yeah, I finally got my record player working at this point in time, so I'm very happy I can actually finally play them. But yeah, anyway. Thank you very much, people tube. And again, I'll see you again soon. Goodbye now.